You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson,
Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian.
Enjoy.
Another very fine episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And
Keith Cheatham.
We've got some breaking news, guys.
Breaking
news right off the top. We love to deliver it every time here on the RM Podcast. Every chance we get.
Broken news.
You all don't know about this.
We don't know about
I told you I would surprise you
news?
before.
Okay.
It's nothing huge. I don't want to get anybody's hopes
But
up.
it's broken. Huge.
But it's breaking right now.
It's huge.
Did y'all notice the date by any chance? What's today's date? What is today's date?
March 10th. It's Mario Day.
Yeah. So you know what it is it is Mario Day.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news. that surpasses any day I would remember. No, it was a year ago on March 7th last year.
Well, that's not a year ago. That's a year and 3 days.
Well, there you go. Simple math.
Simple math. Well, there was the leap year with the extra days.
So see, you can afford me one day off. But that's right. You know, a year ago, we launched our live show here. On the beautiful, wonderful social.
There we go.
Yeah, finally a time when it actually makes sense.
Yeah, the only one.
The only one. But yeah, we launched a year ago, this time last year, and we are happy to be with everybody, obviously, on YouTube and Facebook and all the social medias. Finally, we got our website out. It took a long time.
Took a year.
More than a year, but at least it's up. It's up and ready.
Yeah.
So go check out RedMoonProductions.com. Obviously after the show, but that's where you're going to find all of our previous shows and our latest updates. All of our past reviews that we've done. A lot of great other, more content we've got coming. But, I'm curious because in one of our headlines there, it's not going to be something we hit on completely. We're not going to talk about it in depth this week. But Avatar 2, obviously Avatar's talking some smack again, and Sean and I, just before we turn the mics on, we're talking about wagering a bet. Now, I know he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to actually go through with this.
He's not a betting man.
But we were talking about whether or not we believe Avatar 2 will beat Avengers Endgame.
I believe. No.
No, I don't think so either.
I do think that I could see Avatar getting that re-release and pushing it over the edge, but I don't know about the sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Disney has nothing to lose. They own the top 5 highest-grossing films of all time.
Which is insane.
So, I mean,
that alone there.
If they want to re-release
Monopoly.
Avatar just to give Avatar 2 a boost, why not? It's not like they're losing the highest
But, Sean,
spot.
you do.
I think it will, but I'm not going to bet money
No,
on it.
we're not going to bet anything, but you do think it's going to win. I don't.
Okay. If it doesn't,
I'll think it'll be like a bear
I'll
win?
give you a fine cigar.
Okay.
Ooh,
Now that's a bet.
Well, there you go.
I'll
You
do
can buy
that.
Avatar,
I'll buy into that. I'll do that. We'll do a
Okay.
trade.
I have
So
a question, though.
Oh, wait. Are you going to be in on this?
No. I just wanted to know, and you don't have to have exact amount, but I mean, do you think it'll beat Endgame by a lot, or just kind of?
I think it'll barely win.
Okay.
But I think,
Barely win?
I think Disney
It'll get
will
over
push
there.
it and push it and push it until it wins.
Really?
I think every big release like this that they have, they're going to want it to beat out their last one.
No, that's true. And I do agree with that. I think Disney's going to just play the strengths of having their competition with themselves.
Compared to Fox, it is in a better position with Disney to have a better marketing push.
But
no
I don't
offense
know.
to Fox,
The first
but-
one was fantastically marketed.
But I think that's all
a
really
subpar movie becomes the highest grossing film of all time.
But I mean, that's all
that's
Fox really
brilliant.
had to go on is now the highest grossing, because they can't say it was so great you need to see a second one. They can only say highest grossing movie of all time. You need to see the
I
second
will say
one.
with the first movie, I do feel like part of the marketing was 3D. And I
Yes.
feel like a lot of
The
the
breakthrough
ticket
technology.
sales were the IMAX 3D.
Yep.
$22 a ticket. I think that's where a lot of its money came from. this movie's probably not going to be that way. If it is, it's not going to be anything we haven't seen before. Because when Avatar came out, the 3D technology that he used was pretty breakthrough, and it looked pretty good.
And I don't think James Cameron's dumb. I think he's waiting until. I mean, he's a brilliant marketer. I can't stand him as far as he makes subpar movies or just their surface level movies.
Yeah,
but I will say that he knows how to market it and how to sell it and
he
how
knows
to sell
what
something.
he do.
And he knows spectacle. And he knows that if he can come up with some breakthrough technology, which he already has admitted, like there's plenty of that in the next 4 or 3 Avatar films that we're going to get. So it's kind of a question of how are they going to market it and what are they going to push it as? But I am actually going to go on record. And I'm going to say,
I want to see what you have to say.
I do believe Avatar 2 will clear $1 billion.
Yeah.
But I do not think it will come anywhere near topping Avengers Endgame. In fact, I would be surprised if Avatar beats Titanic.
Oh.
Which means I don't believe it's going to get even above 1.8 billion.
I think it'll hit 2 billion.
I just don't. I don't think so.
I don't think it'll beat Endgame, but I think it'll hit 2 billion.
Okay. All right. You wanted to wager something? Or you wanted to wager a cigar?
that's just my opinion.
All right, this is like betting managers. Can't bet managers. All right, well, we do have a great show. It has been a year since we've been on the air. We're still ticking. Still love it every week joining with you all.
Tiki-taki.
That's But we've got a great review for everybody this week.
Yes.
Keith, you reviewed it, as you do all of our wonderful films.
I reviewed the review.
Why don't you set it up for us?
I reviewed the movie.
You review, well, I don't know. What is your review?
Anyways, we have an excellent movie from Disney and Pixar, since we're already on a rant about Disney. Their latest release, Onward.
And here it is.
Pixar may not be without flaw, but in the realm of animated films, Pixar is still king. Hot off the trails of another Oscar win for Best Animated Picture, Pixar has released its newest film, Onward. While Pixar's track record has fallen in comparison to its past accomplishments, it's hard to argue against the fact that Pixar still makes the best animated films. Onward has stumbled a bit out of the gate, underperforming at the box office in its opening weekend. Amidst mixed reviews and people's common preconception of the movie being one of mediocrity, but despite a rough start, is this another acceptable but average film for Pixar? Or a surprise emotional powerhouse like Coco? The answer is somewhere in between. Written and directed by Dan Scanlon, whose only previous feature-length directing credit was Pixar's Monster University, one of Pixar's previous average releases, Onward is a marked improvement over Scanlon's first outing with Pixar. Starring the vocal talents of Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, Onward is set in the fantasy realm of elves, ogres, pixies, and centaurs. Like most fantasy settings, the world of Onward was once full of magic. Unlike most fantasy settings, however, this world has evolved and takes place in a modern setting where the mythic creatures have abandoned magic for technology. The story revolves around 2 elf brothers, Ian and Barley Lightfoot, Holland and Pratt respectively. On Ian's 16th birthday, the boys both receive a gift from their late father, a wizard staff with a spell that can bring their father back for 24 hours. When Ian and Barley botch the spell, only bringing back their father's bottom half, they set out on a classic quest to complete the spell and bring back their father before sundown. Onward was a surprising delight from start to finish. From beginning, it wastes no time in creating and setting up its fictional world, breathing to life and attributing human thoughts and personalities into unique and quirky objects, creatures, and even abstract ideas and emotions has long been Pixar's forte. Pixar is able to take themes and build intricate worlds that pay homage to those ideas, and Onward is no exception. Full of high fantasy Easter eggs, homages, and gags, Onward creates a vivid world full of life, and this level of detail was not lost in the story either. Pratt and Holland give great performances full of range and emotion, but Holland especially shines. Holland's charm comes through his vocal work, creating a relatable outcast and an unlikely hero who must learn to overcome his fears and anxiety. Pratt has nailed goofball sidekick down for years now, but an extra layer of brotherly love and protector is not lost in his performance. Together they create the emotional crux of the movie, which is Onward and typically Pixar's biggest strength. While Onward is not the best Pixar film to date, it is a breath of fresh air from the onslaught of fine but average sequels they have been sending our way. Onward does not capture the same heights as many of its predecessors, but still feels right, and like what Pixar truly should be. It's an emotional catalog of family and heroes about those we look up to and the bonds we build, and a wonderful coming-of-age story wrapped in a modern high fantasy setting. With clever writing and smart dialogue and witty humor, Onward proves Pixar still has it. I give Onward 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Well, there you have it. 3.5 out of 4 stars.
That was more than what I thought you did. I thought you did 3.
No, I agree with Keith.
Oh,
Okay.
I am actually going with.
I was on the fence between 3 and 3.5.
I was too, but I don't know. It was like coming out of the theater. There were so many moments that hit me that I just couldn't help but give it that extra half star.
It had some good. Wasn't as emotionally impactful for me as some of their other ones, but still way more than I think many of their other recent releases. So,
no doubt.
It's not my favorite Pixar film, but it is definitely one I still hold in high regard.
Yeah,
agreed.
I gave it 3.
Yeah.
I really that half star difference is not that big of a difference for me. I don't think 3 out of 4 for me is a pretty good movie.
Oh heck yeah!
I agree. It was better than a lot of the stuff that they've been pushing out recently. But I'm still looking forward to Soul.
Yes.
I still feel like this movie is like their early part of the year stepping stone to their big one. But this movie had that, you guys know anything with father-son is going to get me, and that's what got me in this movie. But just even there's so many good messages in the movie, especially like just the fact that they recognize, or they Disney and Pixar put it out there that yes, a father is important, even when they're not there. The fact that there was a lack of a father, that
there's still that yearning from the children
absolutely.
that want to meet him, that want to talk to him.
And the fact that you had this mom who had obviously moved on and had a new man in her life, but even the new man understood eventually that the boys needed this. Yes. They needed to see their father. And he kind of backs away eventually and allows that to happen, which is another signal that that's a good man. That the new guy is a good guy, because he understood,
role model.
Yeah, he understood that they needed that. But the fact that they wrapped this, they pulled this movie around so many different emotions between the brothers, like starting to kind of fight because one thinks the other one's kind of a loser, and all of these different things happening, and then to roll it all around that the role model, the youngest brother, needed, he already got. In his older brother, and I loved that because I didn't really see that coming.
That was the moment I think I loved the most, was the whole that, and I don't want to spoil anything, I definitely won't, but it definitely didn't end how I thought it was going to, but it ended the way I thought was perfect.
Oh yeah,
I was like, the way it ended, I was like, that was a great ending, and it's not what I expected.
Well, and exactly,
but it built
there's
on the whole
so much of the
aspect.
movie that is kind of, I don't want to say predictable. I mean, I think that was part of the reason they jokingly set it in this, archaic, old, mythical world.
Yeah.
And what I actually love that in the first 5 minutes they kind of explain, they
why
put
the
it,
magic is
the magic is faded. And and I love they incorporate that idea that it's like even, back then it's like the same technologies and the same it all permeates from the same place of like, oh yeah, it's cool at first, and then how much do we let it get in the way of like our personal lives?
Yeah.
And I love that it kind of takes a back seat after that, because then the focus is not really on, what a lot of other movies would focus on, which is like how technology affects us. It's more focused on how we can still reignite that magic that's still there.
Right.
And that's what I love about, it.
Or
just
even
focusing,
that, just the sense of adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
People just don't have adventures anymore.
Right.
And that's one of the things me and my kids, like, we have a decent sized piece of property, and what's warm outside, it's like I've got my sons both saying like, let's go on an adventure, and it's literally just climbing up in the woods and walking the perimeter through the woods. But every time we go, we see a possum skeleton, or we see a turtle shell, or there's always something out there that we see that's different, and that's their sense. I'm trying to like build this sense of adventure. Like, you need to get out and explore and check things out.
Yes.
Find things, and the fact that like they do make a good emphasis on that in this film, that just sitting at home and going through the motions is not always the best thing.
Well,
I
thought it was very nice how they delegate most of that responsibility to the older brother,
right?
Who seems to be the schmuck and the screw up.
Well, that was
and that's
the point
what
I was going to make. Is I love the fact that they emphasize, like that road less traveled. It's like they kept, it's like you could just stay on the
path
same
of peril.
Yes.
You can stay on the interstate the whole way, but I mean, you're going to miss everything around you. And I love the fact that it played this emphasis on that, actually going out and exploring and learning. And like along the way, like each place they hit, like they kind of brought a little bit of magic back, like with the Manticore, and then the Pixies, and then it's like because they were going on adventure and how they impacted other people helped bring about like a change in their community,
and all of the
really
fears that they were both facing.
Yeah,
they both dealt with it because of that journey.
And you even hit that in the first moment of like the first mission and adventure they go on with finding the Manticore, and it's like she talks to the mom, and the mom's trying to figure out where they are, and she's like, "Yeah, that one you've got's the fiercest one." He was pretty fierce, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no, you mean the big one?" And she's like, "No, he was a little scrawny one,
little guy."
And I love that because that was like it was you start to see the message and the theme of him becoming his own, and then the twist, the slight twist that it takes of not becoming so predictable, I thought was very well done, and truth be told, where it really tugged on my heartstrings as well was, for one, having a positive and a huge influence of a father figure in my life with my own dad.
Oh yeah.
But then also, having an older brother, and it hit me in the scenes where they go back and they show. They show the scenes of the brothers having their relationship together, and like that hit me. That struck a chord with me.
I mean, I feel like that's when Pixar's at their best. I mean, they've had like some rocky. I would really honestly say their recent trend of trying to make these sequels to some of their classics has not panned out for them. But when they focus on like Coco was another one that made me just bawl. Because that father-son relationship angle
and just
was
family.
So well done. Yeah, and with this, I mean, it was a similar thing but different in how they approach, just a relatable story, but put it in this bizarre world that Pixar's great at, where they can take, abstract ideas like Inside Out with emotions or just inanimate objects like toys. They always find these different things. It's like, well, what if we gave these human personifications and mirrored real life through like this world? And it's always done so well. That's when I love Pixar, not when they're making, let's make Toy Story 4 because we know it's going to make a buck.
Yeah. Well, and again, you see the fact that Toy Story 4 doesn't have that same. We've seen the emotional tolls that went through 1, 2, and 3, and with 3 being the pinnacle, it was kind of hard to go back and see them try to amplify that up in 4, where you only get that payoff at the end with trying to say goodbye to one of your main characters. And it's at that point where you're like, yeah, but I already had the payoff, because to me, the biggest connection was not with them with each other. It was always him with Andy.
Andy.
And it was the connection they had as toys with the person who would play with them.
Yeah.
And so to me, I felt like Toy Story 4 wasn't a bad movie, but it was a step back.
Yeah.
And this, again, showed so much originality, and what actually kind of tuned me off, because I wasn't looking forward to it. I wasn't invested in it from seeing the trailer, and then walking in, and actually from the moment the movie started, and it just hit on all those notes of we've lost magic in this world, but there's still some magic that still exists. The need for adventure, the father figure role, and him desiring to just see his father for one day.
Well, even the older brother being the believer in the family.
Yes.
Like he believed wholeheartedly that the magic was real and that it could come back and have this resurgence. And just, I mean, even from a spiritual angle, the movie felt like it was almost like, even your beliefs and your values and the things that we hold dear have kind of fallen to the back burner because of technology and because of everything is here right when we want it.
All of our problems are solved for us.
Problems are solved, but then that magic, that belief, that even that spirituality is still there. We just need to believe, and we need to take the steps to bring it back.
We
and
just need to move onward.
That's true.
But no, absolutely a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
definitely the brother I already was connected with the father-son aspect, but when they threw in the older brother aspect, it connected with me on a deeper level, and that was why I gave it that
just
half
the
star.
writing and the dialogue and the voice acting, like all three of those aspects, like the characters were believable, the way they talked to each other was believable, and then Chris Pratt and Tom Holland's voice acting and interaction with each other was so well done that it just gave that credence.
The only criticism I had, and again, it's very nitpicky, and the only reason I just thought, again, the story's not focused on the mom, but I just thought when they find the staff and then, it's this reveal of they can bring the dad back and the mom, I just wanted to see a little bit more of an emotional tug on her heartstrings.
Yeah.
I knew she had moved on. I knew she had another man in her life.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
but
if
still,
you're bringing back your dead husband, this is a very point.
It was a big deal for the boys, but it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal for the mom.
Right, and that was the only thing.
She was done with him. No.
Well, she was with a minotaur, so she didn't care.
She had the horse thing going. So,
well, he has that long mane.
I love at the end when he takes his hat off and his hair's all long.
He's like, I was
Fabio.
He's like, he's born to run.
But no, that was the only the only part of the movie that I was not too fond of. I just didn't think her reaction was too realistic. I know they glossed over it because they wanted to focus more on just the boys' reaction. And so the mom wasn't the focal point, but I just thought that was a little weak. But still, I mean, absolutely a fantastic film.
Yep.
Just fantastic on all accounts.
Okay.
All right, 3.5 out of 4 stars.
Well, Pixar did
Onward.
good.
They done
good.
Great.
Good.
I guess we're ready to move on to our topic of the week.
Yeah, what is that?
Our headline.
What?
Well, y'all should know because before we walked in the studio, I had to sanitize everything.
I'm feeling a little sick. I don't know if I want to stay and talk about this. We'll have to.
that was coughing up a lung.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you get that Corona Light with lime.
Oh, I thought it was just the Ohio Valley crud.
Well, that happens too.
I thought that's really what it was.
Here's the thing. If you get coronavirus in Ohio Valley, how do you know? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah. We have it 24/7.
It's like
Kentucky crud.
When they said there were cases in I was like, give it a week, man. No, or just give it a month. It'll be gone. It's allergies.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it. And who knows? Maybe like we have the immunity here. Maybe we've been built up for it our whole life.
We've been living with it.
No, that's what our topic is this week. Is coronavirus is obviously sending its scares all over, mass hysteria,
Corona
cats and
2020.
dogs sleeping
That's
together.
What we call it.
What?
Instead of Coney 2020 or Coney 2012, it's Corona 2020.
Corona 2020.
Corona.
That's right.
Huh.
It's making people run out and scream naked on the corner.
Apparently.
Oh.
You didn't know that's what happened to the guy who led that.
Yeah.
The Coney 2012 guy?
Yeah.
They got he went nuts and like was out on the corner. Like TMZ had this video of it.
Really?
He was out on the corner of the street like butt naked and like buck naked.
He wanted
and
to
he was
save
just like
the children,
waving his arms up and down. I
was
mean,
gonna say like Coney was like chopping people's arms and legs off with machetes over there.
Oh
in
yeah,
Africa.
no, that was still going on.
Okay.
That's still that probably hasn't ended.
You're talking about the guy who started the whole
the
craze
video
here in America.
He just yeah.
Stupid people.
But yes, coronavirus
is killing everyone, and now movies are not going to happen anymore.
Pretty much. They basically
but
Hollywood.
gas prices are going down. Explain that one to me.
Well, because no one's traveling. They're like, we're going to lower prices while everybody's indoors sick, and as soon as they get better, hike them back up.
It's called economics.
Yeah.
Simple math.
So. Why have high gas prices when nobody's buying gas or traveling?
True.
Yeah.
But if nobody's buying it, then they have to raise the price to make up the difference.
Well, no, that's why. But that's the
they
reason why
back
they always they hike it during
like holidays when people travel. Yeah,
it's like they know people are traveling.
It's like they overcharge. See, right now is the real price while it's cheap. But then when they know people are no longer sick from corona and traveling again,
I'm saying when the cost of oil per barrel goes up, so do the gas prices.
Well, yeah.
So if they're dropping, then the cost of oil is going down.
I'm telling you,
which is a good thing.
The cost
that means the economy is not.
Well,
about
of course,
to fall apart.
it's not. Yeah, no. Everybody knows that the stock prices are falling.
The stock market went back up.
Your 401k is probably in the tank right now, but it's
Wait
always
till
going to. I mean,
it
everybody panics, and that's the way it is. It's called.
But our whole point,
economics.
we've meandered a little bit. Our whole point in it was that Hollywood premieres are now being postponed over the coronavirus.
Well, you have all these other events.
Yeah.
All these. You've got so many that are canceled.
We're not going to get to see Louisville win the championship.
Well, they weren't
going to cancel the NCAA.
No, it was because they cheated.
Yeah.
No.
They found another hooker. That's so. I mean,
That
you
was
guys are just already
That
disqualified.
was Patino.
But no, the biggest one of note, of course, this kind of broke last week. We didn't really bring it up because I've been avoiding the coronavirus
Yeah, we don't like to
hysteria.
jump
Well,
on
it didn't really
bandwagon.
affect. It hadn't really had a huge effect on Hollywood
No,
yet,
it-
but it is starting to now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now you're talking about, obviously, No Time to Die was the first biggest one that got pushed back
Postponed.
from April to November.
No. Peter Rabbit.
Peter
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
The biggest movie pushed back to August.
You're going to have to wait till August now. And
yep.
Troll 2 moved up, though. Hey,
Yeah.
Trolls.
there's a winner for you.
DreamWorks were like, oh, people are moving out. We're taking advantage of this. We don't care if the children get sick. Move the children's movie up.
Okay, correction, though. You're right. Trolls
Not
2.
Troll 2.
Yeah.
Troll 2.
That's-
Troll
that's
2 is
already
entirely different.
If
That's
you
a different
want to
movie.
cure a disease with laughter,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, put
I'm
Troll
really-
2 in theaters.
Yeah.
It'd be like Patch Adams. It's like, I know how to cure people. And then you just show Troll 2 and everybody in the
Everybody
hospital
laughs
is
and their
laughing.
cancer goes away. God.
Oh.
It's like I'd rather die of a heart attack than the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And I'll laugh because of Neil Bog.
You don't piss on hospitality. Anyways.
But no, obviously the biggest question here is, for one, the coronavirus scare in general.
Mhm.
I don't want to call it hysteria. I think it's a worthy, notable, reason to be anxious. But I think there is a lot of talk for something that hasn't hit us hard. But I think a whole point of this right now is to be preventative. And there's only so much you can do
Be
anyway.
smart. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like the Black Plague where it's going to wipe us all out. But at the same time,
Wow.
it is serious. Like people, I mean, especially like
Well,
the
again, I
elderly,
think
the
we
young,
were talking
people with
about it.
immune.
I would say we were
Yeah.
talking about it before we hit record that a lot of this is the scare of not having a vaccine and waiting on, it's like the more and more people get sick, but there isn't necessarily a vaccine to combat it.
You don't have to go out and buy
Then-
all the toilet paper. That's unnecessary.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. This is not Y2K again.
Yeah.
So
hand
all the milk,
sanitizer.
bread, and toilet paper are gone from all the stores, and the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
But do we think is Hollywood being too cautious here by pushing? I mean, they're spending $30 million
The pushback.
to push
No Time to
back
Die, yeah.
No
Yeah.
Time to Die. Now, Keith, you had a theory about why.
Well,
they're
here's the thing.
pushing it
This
back.
is kind of before I knew about the 30 million because that one's kind of crazy. But I do think some of them are smart rearranging of, well, we have more competition this month, but because of the coronavirus, we can say, well, now we're going to move it back to this month. Plus, November's a better month as far as Oscar season goes.
Yep.
Not that No Time to Die. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know how good it is.
But
But
with it being Daniel Craig's last Bond, flick,
obviously, Peter Rabbit didn't get pushed back for. That
they
movie's
moved,
going to
they moved it up.
It's like that. That movie's
In my
gonna
mind.
that movie's gonna bomb either way. So I don't
Yeah.
know why they didn't just leave it alone. But it's gonna be successful because of kids either way. But
Right.
yeah, it is strange, and I do wonder if some of this stuff is just them taking advantage of the situation. But I do think other parts of it is they themselves are worried about they don't want to get sick. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the side where I believe that I think everybody's being cautionary and they're being proactive,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's like your worry should be more about your employees and the people that are working for you rather than the people who want to mass commune.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to stop thousands of people from gathering in one place and then boom, it's
Well,
just
my thing is,
dropping like
why
flies.
do you need
Yeah.
to push
But-
back the release date to November?
Right.
Don't have a massive premiere, which I know they're like, oh no, we can't not have a
Exactly.
reason to pat ourselves on the back and look glamorous. It's like, no, just don't have a massive premiere, but still launch the movie in April when you were intending to.
Well, and that's my biggest thing is it's like people are still going to the movies.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop people from going unless theaters themselves shut
Close
down,
down, yeah.
which are obviously up to the theaters. But are they worried that theater attendance is down because of it, so they don't want to release it? Then fine, say that. But they don't want to say that because then
Well, then it sounds like we're only out to make a buck, and that's that's what they are.
Well,
doing,
yeah, and
but I'm just
everybody
saying,
knows
yeah,
that.
that's insensitive. It's like, well, we're not going to release the movie because everybody's too sick to watch it right now.
yeah.
I mean, that is a little bit insensitive on their part if they were to.
But
come
that
out
could
and say
be
that.
a real reason too, though. And yeah, you're right. They wouldn't say that. But
Yeah.
imagine if Endgame were releasing instead of No Time to Die. I could guarantee you, Marvel's like, well, we're not going to risk not having
Yeah.
the hot top grossest movie.
We're going to wait
We're
till
gonna-
everybody's getting better.
Yeah,
and then
but they're not
release
going
it.
to tell people that.
No,
You're right.
not
yeah.
at all.
True. And I agree. I think, but that's why I think they're trying to be. And I understand like all of these different events that are being canceled. And I think
they quit filming the Great Wall too.
I
mean,
You can't film in China right now.
What are you gonna do?
China right
If
now.
you go to China and film, you're just going to die.
Matt Damon's like out. I don't know what he's going to do.
Are they not sure that that's how those creatures came to be?
They
I'm
are
just
people
saying.
who were infected by the
That
coronavirus.
I'm just telling you, we
That's
already know.
why they really built the Great Wall, because the coronavirus has been around for a long time.
You know Netflix is doing a Resident Evil series. I think that they're just actually making a documentary of China.
Oh yeah.
That's so true. They're just setting cameras out and about and getting people's real reaction.
They're like, this is gonna be great. So
Umbrella
realistic.
It's like we're gonna even make a logo and mock it and make it look like it's really Umbrella.
That logo from that Chinese
That's real.
place.
That's
the real logo.
But
That
I
is
think we
crazy.
looked it up. That was not the place that. I don't think it has the direct tie. There was some. Yeah, there was some like it's one of the places in that city
Wuhan. Yeah.
or Wuhan, but
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't
It's
have
still
anything to do with
crazy
the
that they
virus.
have like
That's
it's like
that's
the
a lot
color
of
schemes.
coincidences.
True.
Yeah.
They tried to make the Raccoon City thing like with the name of the company, but that was forced. I will admit
Sure.
that. But the logo itself did
Yep.
look too close.
But I mean, how do you feel about with all these events? I mean, you got the game developers conference that's being that they're no longer having. You've got obviously Google I/O. You've got there's an A&E event that's being canceled. We got the Summer Olympics coming up.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying that that's still technically.
Oh, they're
but hell,
it would take
I
a
mean,
lot for them to
Japan
cancel
is they're not bordered, but they're right across the ocean. You know that little
Yeah.
bit of sliver of water from China, and it's like we already got plenty
Well,
of cases
I don't
here
think
in
they like
America.
the Chinese anyway, so they probably make them stay out.
Yeah.
It's like you all can't come in.
But
Everyone
it's like
else.
for the Tokyo Olympics, it's like is that something that's going to be pushed back? That'll be a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
For broadcasters.
Yep.
It'll
And
be interesting. It'll
you're
be a
talking
nightmare
about
for everybody.
a world effort.
Not just broadcasters. I mean, just what Japan would have to spend to building everything for the Olympics and then push it back. I mean, that would be rough on Japan too. So,
So
it's definitely something I
I
think they would try to avoid.
I think some of it's a little premature, but at the same time, I mean, with the scare that the media has produced, and for some of it, there's good reason, but I think a lot of it is kind of overdone in the media, and that's led to this kind of like scare. So I know they're just doing it out of precaution, but I still think some of these things that are planned for the summer and planned for the fall, it's like, I mean, everybody that's got it that isn't 90 years old and died has already recovered.
well,
So you only have it for 7 to 10 days, and then it's gone.
right, but I think it was like what we were talking about earlier when we were discussing how it's like, yeah, even if we get it and we're fine or we're deathly ill for a couple weeks, it's like the problem really persists when it comes to who we know that's older
yes,
and
yeah.
Spreading
above
it to your
60.
family.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it can become a risk for your parents. And we
And of
actually
course,
just had
being off work for however long it takes to recover is also because not everybody pays for you to be out. I mean, most people don't want you to come to work with the coronavirus for sure, but not every company's going to pay you for not being there.
Yeah.
well, and also we actually just got a text from Neil.
Oh, my
who was
goodness.
mentioning that he has been asked to stay home.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the coronavirus?
Yeah, the CEO asked to stay home and work from home because of the coronavirus. So he may have it by the end of the week. Is what he said.
Yeah. Well, I know
His company's been compromised.
I saw in the
so-
news earlier today that New York and New Jersey they've declared that a lot of their companies and businesses and stuff are going to like mandatory make people work from home if it's possible.
Mhm.
And the people who don't work from home or can't work from home, they may not work at all if these businesses like shut their doors to try to keep it, out of the workplace.
Yes.
So it's not just, like that's not just Neil's company. That's
Oh, yeah.
probably a lot
It's-
more in
yeah.
Boston. But
well,
it's,
I mean,
it's-
even Apple is putting any employee that
Yeah.
may get it and come down with it, and worldwide, they're
Yeah.
saying that they can have paid.
well, every
paid
one of their
full
employees in
leave
China's got it.
is
already.
already. Well, it was one of the first reactions they did was shut it down.
Yeah.
But I mean, more so back to the movie industry.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is I do think that they are a little bit premature. I think a lot of this is more so what they expect to get, box office results,
Mhm.
and especially for something like No Time to Die.
Yeah.
They're hoping that by the end of the year, this is kind of settled and it's not a big deal or a big issue anymore, and that they will release a more successful film in the November. And honestly, it was going to be a hit either way.
Yeah.
You could have launched it at any time this year, barring obviously the coronavirus, and it would have been a big hit. It's Bond.
Yeah.
But I think they're smart in that the $30 million, I think they're going to make up on the back end.
Oh yeah.
Well, we
No
don't
doubt.
have a big Marvel movie that I know of coming out this fall or December. And there's no Star Wars.
I think the Eternals comes out in July, I think. So yeah, it's
it's not going to have a lot of
competition,
big competition in November. So that's probably going to be a good thing for them financially. So.
Well, now, and what about, like, for instance, we got some productions that have been halted as well. Mission Impossible 7's upcoming 3-week shooting
I read
kickoff
about that. Yeah,
in Venice because Italy's completely on lockdown.
Yeah.
Well, see,
They've got
Tom Cruise,
everybody
he does his own
completely-
stunts, so he's got to get the coronavirus first and
Well,
then shoot.
And he's
So-
got to survive it because Scientologists, it's like you don't get a vaccine.
No.
So he I think
He
will-
probably won't get it because you only get it if you're weak.
that's true. He's
Yeah.
he's
his
too rich.
immunity's-
He's too rich to get
He's too rich to get it.
Well, that's basically how Scientology believes.
Yeah.
The better you are, the more you're rewarded.
Right,
So obviously he must be perfect because he's been rewarded a lot.
But I mean, that's just one of the movies that it's halted production on.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they have some TV shows out there like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, Dr. Phil. They've all confirmed they're not filming their shows with a live audience.
Yeah.
So I guess they'll have clap tracks in the background. But the thing is it's like, even CBS's Amazing Race
Oh
is
yeah,
postponed
yeah. I
shooting.
read that. It says
Yeah.
They can't race around the world and get coronavirus.
It's like,
I mean, you can go around China.
But, I mean, there are other parts of the
You
world
just
that.
have to run through Russia.
So I mean,
Russia
that's the
ain't got
thing.
it yet.
We're
well,
sitting here
Mulan,
talking
they were
about
supposed to do a premiere in China for Mulan because it is specifically a
Yeah,
Chinese
yeah,
film,
yep.
and they canceled that too.
Well, and they specifically said that while it's canceled the premiere there, but it still is on
Oh, it's still
track
going to launch. Yeah.
to-
Yeah.
Well, and it's launching, but it's also still on track to be very successful
It's-
for Disney.
Oh,
amidst all the
early
coronavirus
early
scare.
talk is it might be one of the best
Live
live
action.
action Disney
Mhm.
adaptations. So we'll see.
And
Yeah.
it looks good. It looks
Yeah.
good. So
Too
amidst
bad China won't get to see it. The one movie about their people, well,
The one movie about their people.
that's the only one.
Hey,
It's the
it's
only
Name
one.
another. You
Ong
can't.
Bak.
The Great Wall.
Ong
Nope.
Bak is legit.
Oh, you're talking about Disney movies
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, that's nobody.
Any movie. None
Yeah.
of those other movies exist. Great
all
Wall.
the It
that don't
Man
exist
movies.
too.
That's
Nope.
all Chinese.
Nope. Those don't exist either.
That one movie that Martin Scorsese took The Departed from. I forget what it's called.
That one was
that-
definitely didn't exist because Martin Scorsese had to take it and make it better. See,
Oh wow.
I'm talking about good
Gosh,
movies.
Okay.
he is so racist right now.
Jeez.
The coronavirus hits
I'm not
China, and then
racist.
he's just
I have nothing
he's
against
against the Chinese.
I don't have anything against the Chinese. I just said they can't make movies. Except for Jackie Chan. He makes
Well,
great
Jackie Chan.
movies.
I'll tell you
He's
who
great.
can,
I
who
love
can
Jackie
make
Chan.
movies.
Yeah.
The Koreans. Okay.
Rush Hour. Rush Hour.
Parasite.
Parasite.
They
Okay.
don't have movies like
Parasite
Gone with the
was
Wind
a
anymore.
They got a
movie.
Parasite now. China got it.
Yeah, well, China's trying
All
to
right.
give it to him.
All right, guys.
They went off the walls.
Yeah.
I went way off the walls.
Oh,
All
well.
right. I think honestly, the coronavirus, it's yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a virus.
yeah.
It kills
That's it.
people, but not always. Just about 3% of the time.
I think it's premature. I think it's just
a
like
little bit. I mean, it's definitely. Yeah, you're right. It's something that should be taken seriously. You shouldn't have to wait till the virus breaks out for people to have to tell you to wash your hands. Just wash your hands.
I know it.
yeah, exactly.
If you go to the bathroom, wash your hands.
It's like, come on. Since we were 13 and our BO started stinking in our armpits, it's like we've had hygiene.
I mean,
issues,
I was
okay?
taught to wash my hands
like-
before I turned 13. But
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't do it till after I was 12.
I
Yeah.
did when I was.
But you
I was
still
at a
sniff your hand
Lowe's.
after you go to the bathroom before you wash your hands.
Like,
I do.
What?
You go to the bathroom and then you're like,
No.
and then you wash your hands.
Okay. I was gonna
Brandon
say.
said I do.
Who
He knows what I'm
doesn't?
talking
I
about.
want to know one guy that doesn't do that shit.
I don't. I mean, I said I haven't, but I don't regularly make it a habit of sniffing my hand. I don't know.
Come on, you don't
You
know
don't want
this.
to smell
you
how
don't-
sweaty your junk is?
No.
I do all the time.
Not in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's
Really? It's like I can't help it.
It's like
It's like,
oh.
I was gonna say,
I wasn't expecting
where
that.
James Franco goes, "I got that stank dick."
I got that
Yeah.
stank dick. It's interview.
The interview.
Dude, come over here.
oh yeah,
This was like guacamole.
that is like one of the best worst
Yes,
movies.
I
love
know.
that movie.
Oh, we gotta move on. We gotta.
I was
move
gonna
on.
say the one last thing.
Get off
In the
this
Shape
topic.
of Water. I forget his name.
Michael Shannon.
Yes, you know how he
washes his hands before he touches. His
I was
stuff.
at a Lowe's
my
and I saw a
gosh.
guy do that. He came in, washed his hands, went to the urinal, peed, and then walked out. And I was like, people. I was like,
no way.
I was like, people actually do that. Like
yeah?
I saw Michael Shannon in the
yeah,
movie
he
do
didn't
it.
want to touch his ding dong with dirty
And
hands.
I'm like,
but then he
no.
wants to walk out after he's
Yeah,
touched it
Because
and touch
apparently
everybody
knows
else.
it's clean.
Apparently his penis is cleaner than
clean.
anything else he'll come into
No.
contact
Yeah.
with. In his mind, I guess.
That makes no sense to
I was
me.
like, I saw him do this, and I was
and
like,
that's why you smell it.
Well, I mean, think about it. think about
so
it,
you know
Brandon.
you need to wash
You
your
shake
hands.
hands with your hands. You don't shake it with your penis.
No.
It's not like, hey, it's nice to meet you. Shake my penis.
But I just
Like
touched
they're-
it.
it's not gonna be
But
dirty.
I just
It's
touched
not
it.
dirty. It's in your pants all day. It can't get dirty.
You don't know that.
It sweats. It gets dirty. It's
Exactly.
the smell.
It's the smell, and I'll smell it. I'll
Sometimes-
smell it, and I'm telling you.
I did not
sometimes,
think
like-
when we started this podcast we would go from movies
about
to
sweaty
talking
balls.
about sweaty,
sweaty.
junk.
let's
But
move
you
on.
know,
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
It's true. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
They're lying if they say they don't.
Yeah.
They're lying. You're lying.
I'm not lying.
You touch your. You
I
touch
do
your
not
balls.
regular. I'm not saying I don't do that. I'm just saying every time I go to the bathroom, I don't.
Well, it's not every single
No,
time, but if there's
no.
nobody around, I'll be like,
It's like.
I gotta wash my hands.
And then I gotta get home, take a shower.
but it's
then I
like,
gotta wash
yeah,
my
but it's
junk,
like they're
yeah.
gonna smell like that all day, though.
I mean, I can't. It's in a cool, damp place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna stink. It's,
Yeah.
It's
You gotta
fine.
get
I've worked with a guy that like smelled like he just
Smell his balls.
he just smelled like that stink 24/7, like sweaty
Ball sweat.
sweaty
Was he-
butt and balls like
Was he,
24/7.
Was he from a different country?
And no, he's from here, and
Okay.
I'm like, dude, you need to like bathe. But like, I didn't want to tell him anything because it's an awkward conversation to walk up to somebody who's like,
Well,
you bathe
yeah.
regularly, but
Well, when you're an older guy, it's like, come on. When
But
you got to
see,
talk to somebody older
If you
about
sniffed your
hygiene,
hand, though, you could have thrown out a hint. You could have been like, "Man, that smells terrible."
You need to
Anybody
wash.
that smells like that needs to
no,
take a
because
bath.
then you know how those people
but
respond.
those people don't think they
yeah,
smell.
I mean, I always take baths.
They-
Bull
Yeah.
crap. No, you don't.
They live in it and they got used to the smell, so they no longer think they stink.
They don't.
It's terrible.
It's a sad thing when you got to talk about
Gosh.
grown people
Yeah.
about hygiene.
Yeah.
it's bad news.
Oh, I mean, as
It's
a
very
manager,
bad.
yeah. Sometimes you do. You gotta be like, hey, you can't come in here with dirty clothes or smelling like butt. But it's like you shouldn't have to tell. And
That's
you know,
a job requirement.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Don't smell like butt when you come in.
if you have to tell someone like who's like in their 40s, hey, you need to take a shower.
That's
like
bad.
that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I agree.
Oh
I
God
agree.
Almighty,
I
we gotta
agree.
move on.
We got to.
Onward.
I mean,
please.
honestly, I did not.
Onward.
That could have taken place of our story time
it
segment.
could have.
But we're done
People
talking.
you meet who stink.
I think we're finally ready to move on
To our story time
to our
segment?
story time segment.
Okay.
Let's get to it.
Gosh.
It's story time, where the podcast members tell their stories.
Story time.
I'm
Story
just
time.
thinking of
I'm still on it.
anybody who tuned in late, like
They were like,
expect-
what?
If
Like,
they walked
movie
in
review-
on that,
they,
yeah.
like movie review podcast. I'm gonna watch this, and here we're talking about sweaty balls.
yeah.
It's like okay,
I mean, that's
Hey.
like looking at the toilet paper after you wipe. You do that too,
well,
right?
everybody does that. If you don't
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
the, well,
pretty
you have
gross.
to
You
because
have
to
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 try
know
to know
if
you
it's-
got enough.
Yeah.
And then, but I
you have
feel
to
like
know you don't need to wipe anymore.
well, it's weird. It's a look and a feel thing. It's like you feel it and you're like, okay, I didn't get everything.
There's still something there.
Yeah.
But then you look at it too to be like, well, how much did?
Yeah,
Can I get an appropriate amount?
keep
so
going
I know?
until the toilet paper comes out white.
Yep. I
I
agree.
mean,
All right.
I agree.
what's interesting
Alright.
though is when you look before you flush, because I mean people do that too.
Oh yeah.
well, who doesn't?
Yeah.
I'm sure
I
people
take
will say, I don't
pictures.
look.
I'm like, if it's photo worthy, I'm gonna take a picture of it.
Well, you have
Send
to.
it to somebody.
Yes, that's
like
how
you gotta look at this.
Guys
that's-
do that.
That's what we do. To
We
each
had a whole
other.
conversation at my old job about like all the guys and like women were like my boyfriend texted somebody. It's like, yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like we just I don't know why.
I texted you a picture while I was in the bathroom.
Well, it's got to
Yeah,
be
you did.
unique. It's like our unique weekly.
Well, we
segment.
were both pooping at the same time in two different bathrooms,
Oh.
and I'd like
Y'all did that
I
in my
tried
house.
to airdrop a picture to him, and he didn't. He declined it.
No, I accepted it.
You finally did.
Yeah.
It said declined.
Well, I don't know.
You hurt me.
I'm sorry.
You know why he declined?
I heard why he was on the
He
toilet.
was smelling his balls.
He was like, "Hey,
This is gonna like encompass the rest of our show
Yeah.
now.
all right."
Well,
So what's our story time segment?
I don't know. This is pretty good.
I think we were gonna go another direction.
We
I'd like to go that way.
Semicolons, the ones that circle the ring.
Colons.
We can talk
Yeah,
about it.
Colin.
I had a guy. Who
I knew a guy that had a semicolon.
He sent a picture of his poo. This guy I used to work with that looked like a semicolon, like the little like.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, I did
yeah.
like a backward C once. I mean, that thing covered the
A
whole
backward
bowl.
C's not that.
Yeah.
No,
impressive.
but it was the way. It was perfect. I mean,
Okay.
it could have been like you were trying to trace a letter
There's
in
females
elementary
watching.
school.
Well, here's
now,
the thing.
so we're gonna-
Our
really?
show used to be like 51% female, 49% male viewers, but after this night, it
Yeah.
probably won't be anymore.
Yeah. All right. So story time.
Probably not. you know what it is, Sean. You introduce it.
Okay. So we were talking earlier about story time, and we came up with the idea of. Oh, actually, our friend Brian came up with the idea of your worst. What was it? The worst vehicle breakdowns.
Vehicular
vehicle
breakdown.
breakdowns.
Vehicular breakdown.
I just want to say vehicular manslaughter. I'm sorry.
Well, that,
I just
that
had to.
could have been involved in
Vehicle.
your worst vehicular breakdown.
It could have,
haven't had
but
one
not
of those.
mine.
I've not had one of those, thank God. But
No.
Well, we can accomplish that goal later.
I actually got a story that goes along with that.
Yeah.
This was a breakdown. This was actually like the worst breakdown, but it was also the best. I think it's trying to top this.
right after vehicular manslaughter.
No. We never killed anybody. But anyway, Amelia and I, we bought 2 Kias at the same time back when they had the 2 for $222.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So we got suckered into that, and it was not $222.
We want to see ya
yeah
in a Kia.
yeah. Well, they saw us in 2 of them. So we took the hatchback Kia that we bought, which has been totaled and replaced by now, but we bought the thing and we took it on a trip to Florida. Okay, so on that trip to Florida, like a week after we bought
Is
it.
this the same Florida trip you told us about us in the past?
No.
About Hannah. walking
No.
in. Oh,
No.
I was trying to be
So-
more subtle
No,
about it. But he
This
was
this was just me and Amelia. We went down to Florida and we had the Kia, and halfway down there, or no, we got to Florida and the transmission went out on a brand new car.
What?
It had 2,000 miles on it
Oh,
from driving.
well, warranty.
should have
So-
bought American.
Right. So anyway,
Damn
we were just
gremlins.
like, what are we supposed to do? It's it's a brand new car. We just bought this thing and the transmission was out.
Right.
So we took it to a Kia in Florida,
A
and they
dealership.
had to they were gonna have to put a whole new transmission and everything in it. Well, they had to order it. They had to get it in and then prep it and then install it. And they were like, it's gonna take probably 3 or 4 days to do it.
So the whole time you're down there.
So the whole time we're in Florida, we didn't have a car. So
Did they not provide
No,
you
no.
like
I'm
a-
getting
oh,
there.
okay,
This is
okay.
where it becomes the best
Let
vehicle
him tell
breakdown.
the story.
So not only did they rent us a car to use the whole week, which was nicer than their freaking Kia, they gave us I'm trying to remember the amount of money, but they basically said, keep tabs of all of your meals while you're here and bring the receipts and we'll reimburse you for every meal.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
because
I
of
would have eaten out every single night.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
we did, and we
I would've
ate
got
crazy.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
steak.
We did.
everything.
Lobster. Going down to Florida.
One night we
Yeah.
went to a seafood place and I got like a $35 seafood platter and she ate crazy big, and then
yes.
we went to a steakhouse one night
Heck
and there was like
yeah.
a porterhouse that was like $41 and I got
Ah,
it.
hell
We
yeah.
ate all
Sorry,
that
I couldn't,
stuff.
I couldn't hold that one
Yeah.
back. I didn't mean
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. But
No,
steak,
we ate crazy all week and then brought the receipts back to the Louisville Kia store and they flat out, they reimbursed us. But it was just like we sold you a car with a faulty transmission in it.
Yeah.
So they, I mean, we threw a little bit of a fit over it because it's just like, man, I just bought this car.
Yeah.
That's crap. Like,
Yeah.
So they replaced the transmission and nothing went against our warranty or anything like that. And they did some things to the car to make it right or whatever, but then they did that like line of credit for all of our meals, and it was pretty
insane.
fantastic. So we had a better vehicle that we drove, a much more roomy vehicle while we were there, and we had all our meals paid for. So I mean,
So what ultimately what was starting out to be the worst?
It was the worst, but then it was also
turned out
the
to be the
best.
best,
Yeah, because
yeah.
it was like, man, if that wouldn't have broke down, because like all of our money was being spent on
Attractions
just on
and
no,
other
just
things?
on the
Food,
the
and-
hotel.
Yeah.
The condo. So it was just like,
Man.
we were going to be eating, from the grocery store, like buying stuff and making sandwiches. That's just what we do. And then we got to like eat fancy meals every night while we were there.
Heck yeah!
So it was pretty awesome.
And but the thing is, did you still have to pay for it up front, and they reimburse you?
We paid for it up front and brought all the receipts back, and they reimbursed us.
Wow,
That's
that's
deal.
crazy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's
it was
a
$400 or
great deal.
$500 worth of food.
And then they got
Heck yes!
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was crazy.
yeah, and then you got coronavirus.
It's funny because
Yeah.
it would have been it was like $400 or $500 worth of food in Boston just to eat like
Oh yeah.
McDonald's.
chicken tenders. Yeah. Kidding, Neil. He's not watching.
No,
he's
like
not
but for real, like a $4 bill for McDonald's was like $8
Yeah,
in Boston.
yeah.
So yeah.
But no,
So what's your all stories?
oh, Keith, you go ahead.
Oh, someone's getting shy over there. The one that
Mine's not that good.
well, mine's not as good as Sean, I don't think. But I still the one that
not
like
a
pops into my
competition.
head like prominently all the time
Yeah.
is when we went and saw Man of Steel. And I was coming home from the movie, and were you? I don't think you were with me. I don't remember. I think Nathan and Neil were, but I'm not 100%
I wasn't with
sure.
you. No, I wasn't.
I was
with you.
coming back, and I took like Watterson to Cane Run and was just gonna go back Greenbelt, and on that exit, like both of my back tires blew out.
Oh, crap!
God.
And this was we went and saw the midnight premiere of Man of Steel back when midnight premieres were actually
Actually
at midnight.
yeah.
And I mean the movie wasn't like super fantastic anyway, so it's not like I was like yay. But so then my tires go out, and I don't know. It's like 1, 2 in the morning. Well, not 1 because that would have been at midnight. So it would have been 2 or 3 in the morning, and it wasn't until like I think like 9 or 10. Like it was, like we sat in that car and my dad came by and everything and waited for this like tow truck and somebody come till like 9 or 10. Like I had to be at work the next day, and I like, immediately went from having my car towed back to my house to going to work because nobody was up like and active at like 3 in the morning. So like we had to wait till like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Like I literally slept in my car for like 5 or 6 hours, like while my dad was there.
That's terribly the worst. That is absolutely
and I was
the
like,
worst.
this is crazy, but it was also kind of fun and adventurous because I mean I was with like
I say
Nathan
it's
and-
one of those
See,
things that
there's
you
that adventure.
absolutely
Yeah.
hate it while it's going on.
Yeah,
but
but
then you look back on it.
I was
like,
with
that's a memory.
I was with
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
and we were just like Nathan. Like he could have left, but he stayed. I think we sat there, laid in, like
Oh,
the
they
seats back,
stayed.
and listened to music or whatever until like they came, and I was
Then you
just
ran
like,
your battery down and
so-
had to get a new one of those.
yeah, you know. But no, the car I ran, you know, I could
Yeah.
turn it on. It just wasted gas while my back tires were blown out. I don't know what was on the exit ramp, but yeah, they both at the same time just blew.
Blue.
Yeah.
Were they like fairly new tires?
Yeah,
by
they
any
weren't in
chance?
bad shape. It just I don't know.
Were they
like,
Big
I
O
know
tires?
one of them went Big O. No, I don't buy Big O tires.
That's your problem right there.
That's why
I
you
don't
need
buy Big O
those.
tires.
I know. I'm joking. I wouldn't
Um,
either.
I don't know where those were from, honestly. I go to tire discounters now, not to like promote anybody,
Not
but
to
that's
name
just where I
drop.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
But if you need a good set of tires, right now they have buy 3 get 1 free
Yeah, you
at
can buy 3
Discount
refills.
Tires.
free rotation.
hopefully now a sponsor of the
Lifetime
Red Moon
rotation.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get free rotation and balancing in there, and then
And
you
if-
get that little nitrogen instead of oxygen pump, and makes the tires go good. And yep, you'll never get them flat again. I tell you what,
And you get 4 free ones, and then guess
4
what?
free ones.
4 free ones.
I'll
Now
buy
they
that
definitely
one.
I'm
aren't our
going-
sponsor anymore.
If you go to tire discounters and tell them Red Moon sent you, you'll get 4 free tires.
Crap.
And you'll also get someone looking at you and asking you,
Who the hell's Red Moon?
Exactly.
Red Moon is not officially sponsored by Tire
The guy will
Discounters.
come out of
You
the
will not
bathroom
get
and he'll
free
be, like,
tires.
he'll be like, "Who's Red Moon?" Sniffing his head. You're all set.
Coronavirus.
It's like, oh, no, it's just a tire smell. It gets me.
Yeah, it's that nitrous oxide.
No, I can't help it.
Oh,
man.
okay. Let's.
No, all right. So mine's not nearly as good as either one of those. I like, which for one, I do on a handful of occasions. I know that just you've had terrible luck with cars because I remember when we went and saw what was that Battle Angel? What was it?
Oh,
key
I
one?
had a flat.
Yeah, you had a flat then coming to see us.
And missed that. Yeah.
Missed the movie, and then
And then I had that issue where I forget what the
Oh,
rod,
there was
the
the
rod
one-
in my wheel went out or whatever, and like I mean, because we were
on the way back from
yeah,
the smoke
because
shop.
we thought it was
Yeah.
the brakes, but I mean, the whole thing, not just like
Yeah.
the whole rotor and everything locked up. We had to have that whole
'Cause that
junction
was-
replaced. I forget what the actual.
that
term
was
for
the
that
night of the
part is.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
so that was fun.
well, and I
Your car
actually,
broke down in
That was
Belton's
I was
parking
gonna
lot.
say that's one that I just remember too. Is and that wasn't even the worst. Those two. Okay,
Oh,
I'll
Easy had a
name
couple.
those
I know
two.
your head gasket blew too.
No, it was the oil started leaking into the
antifreeze was leaking into the oil.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
The antifreeze was leaking into the oil. That was the worst one. I was coming home from work. My engine was running fine, but it was already a new used engine in this old 98 Honda Accord. So obviously it was on its last leg. But I was hoping, because the engine they put in there said it had about 150 on it. Mm-hmm. Now, most Honda engines, you can get like probably a good
3 or 4,
Yeah, you can get hopefully a nice long distance out of it. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of hoping for the best.
You still should have had 100 plus miles.
Yeah, I was hoping for at least like 210, 220.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That was what my odometer read at the time. The original motor or engine, completely went out. But that was the issue. Was like I pulled up to the stoplight, and this newer engine that I had in, I only had it in there for about maybe a year and a half, and I pull up to this stoplight like not but 2 minutes from my house, and it's just smoking. Like I didn't notice it as I was driving because I could smell something.
Of course, I think back then you rode around in overdrive a lot too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sean told you. Sean was like, "Why are you riding around?"
I didn't realize I was riding in like third gear the whole time.
He thought it made the car go faster.
Yeah. I thought it meant onward.
No. Yeah, overdrive is like for when you're doing 70 or 80 miles an hour all the time.
Right.
Like
well, I do that. I do that.
It's not meant for stop and go.
Right. And the problem was I'm doing 70 or 80 in stop and go.
Yeah. I mean, he did. Yeah, we got to Boston in 15 hours exactly, even with like stops along the way,
we had like 3 stops. But the thing was, I stopped at this stoplight, and of course, like it starts smoking, and I'm like, this ain't good. So there was like this little parking lot I pull into. I get out and I pop the hood, and I'm just like, this ain't good at all. It's billowing out of there. And thankfully, there was like a guy across the street, and he was just like, everything okay? And I was just like, I don't know what's happening with my car. And he could see the smoke coming out. Yeah. So he came over and looked at it, and he was like, oh, that's not a good sign. He's like, looks like, you got a head gasket blown. He's like, you got coolant leaking into your oil, or oil's mixing in with your coolant.
Right.
He's like, not a good sign. He's like, I hate to sell it, to you, but
usually at that point it's
pretty much done. Shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I literally, I think to get extra life out of that, because I didn't have any money to get another used car. I think I spent probably like $1,700 to get the new engine and get that installed. So for $1,700, I got another year and a half out of it. And thankfully, I was in a better spot I didn't want to get rid of the car because I just bought my house, but I was thankfully making enough money to afford getting a new used car. So I went ahead and I ended up with the car I have now. But it was definitely one of those things where I was like, another sad, got, broke down. Plus, my first car ever was a Ford Taurus, 99 Ford Taurus.
Yeah.
Got into a wreck with that one. Guy swerved out, hit me. Loved that car. Just so many and then, like you said, the latest trouble where it was podcast night and we were itching to get back before the show. And I had to meet. It was weird. I was coming from work and I had to pay this guy who came out to check my heating and air.
Yeah.
And so he came out and checked my air conditioning. And he left, and I was like, well, can I meet you somewhere? I've got cash. I can pay you. He said, yeah, go ahead. He's like, I'm at this Melton. So I was like, oh, I know where that's at.
Yeah.
So I met him there, paid him. He showed me pictures he took, was explaining everything to me. I get in my car to head here so that we could do the podcast, and it won't start.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking it's my battery. And, and I'm freaking out thinking, yeah, my battery is screwed, and I'm pissed because I just got this thing like a year ago. So I'm thinking I got a bad battery. Sean had to come out and, pick me up. And then we had to go back later to get the car with my dad. And then I had to take it to the shop and found out it was the starter. So, money spent there.
Yep.
I'm just, vehicles are
They're
definitely, they are a money pit.
They are a money pit.
And then there's even, recreational ones where they're just, when they don't work and you're stranded out in the lake.
Yeah.
And
yep. But see, that's another one of those that it's just like, now that I look back on it, I was pissed at the time, majorly.
But now it's a funny
memory.
It's
a funny story.
Now it's an adventure.
Well, it's always easy to look back on things you made it through.
True.
And then you can say, okay,
well,
now
that's
because
you can't look back on the things you don't make it through.
That's right. That's right. Like coronavirus.
Or sweaty
Well, I think we've
balls.
come full circle here.
Sweaty ball.
Okay, no, now we've come full circle.
That's it. All right, guys. I think that is going to do it for another episode here on the Red Moon Podcast. As always, check us out on all of our social media accounts. That's right, the Googles. Get on there and Google Red Moon Productions. You'll see our new websites up, redmoonproductions.com.
If they wanted to email us, where do they send that to?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. I think I got a place to send them to.
Oh.
It's called our email address. That's right. Oh, right there at the bottom of your screen. RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.
Bottom of my screen?
.com.
Whose screen?
Huh?
What is this?
Oh my gosh, Keith,
Right
right,
here?
there.
Screen, you scream,
Right here.
we all
just
scream.
tickle it?
You always want to tickle it.
I do. I like tickling things.
Well,
You like tickling it.
yeah.
What about you, Sean?
Redmoonproductions.com.
What do you like to do with it?
I just like to poke it. Try to make it mad.
You know what I like to do?
What do you do?
I like to stroke it.
Oh.
So now you gotta
poke it, stroke
after
it.
you get done with that, you gotta smell your finger.
You know what that smells like?
It smells like pure gold.
That's right. All right, guys. That's right. Email us there.
RMPodcast.
at redmoonproductions.com. I think that's going to do it for this week, guys.
Yeah, I think so.
Too.
So until next time, I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
so until next time, we will
See you at the movies.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.